How is everybody doing today? Had to come on and talk a little, laugh a little bit, talk a little bit. Something that I seen that has been popped up on the radar that's pretty, somewhat funny, somewhat probably not funny. Just depends on how you look at it. So we finna get right into it. Robert Griffin III did something like November the 8th or something like that. He posted something. What black women do you support? He did that post. What black women did? He had a picture of him and his kids. In my opinion, I think he did it for relevance. I don't know, but he said he didn't. Well, a lot of people crucified him on Twitter because of his dynamic with his kids. He's interracial. It's an interracial marriage, whatever. To me, it don't even matter. But I think Twitter people love to troll. They love to get under your skin. They love to try to break you. This is how the world works. Twitter world works. So we're gonna talk about this a little bit. That's what kind of the title was. He trolled for his interracial taste. We're gonna talk about community dating, proximity, and how do people meet? Like, what's the common ways people kind of meet now in 2024, based on things that I've seen and heard? So, um, I first like to shout out to my wife Ashley. We've been married for like 13 years, something like somewhere in there, 13 years. So I've been out the game for a while. I just like secondhand from what I'm seeing now. But definitely want to talk about this though. Just like a quick little hit, talk about it online and get on off this thing. But we finna get into this. Pull up this Twitter page real quick. But they will crucify you on Twitter. But let's talk about it.
I just had a tweet go intergalactical because I said my four daughters are black. What's wrong with that? Nothing. But let's talk about it. This whole thing started on November 6th when I tweeted, "Black men do support black women. Stop tearing down and blaming black men for everything under the sun when it comes to black women." Although a lot of people agreed with me, this made a lot of other people very, very upset. There were a lot of, "What do you mean by that?" With the number one thing being said was, "You can't say that, sir, because you married a white girl." As if marrying someone outside your race means you can't drop facts. Like, is marrying someone outside your race a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. Love knows no colors, and that's what we should be preaching instead of divisiveness. So what are those facts? It is a universally well-known fact that black men love their mamas. Last time I checked, a black mama is a black woman, right? On a serious note, studies have shown that black fathers are more involved in their kids' lives than any other race.
So he pretty much tried to defend himself on this one because everybody was crucifying him on Twitter. They pretty much told him, "How can you say support black women when your kids are not black? They're interracial." He said his kids are black. Based on he went back to some old rule back in the day, like if your kid had one drop of blood of African American blood, that then they're black. So you have to be careful about what you post, what you say. I think he got tough enough skin. I think he gets it. But at the same time, everybody has a limit. But they gonna troll you on Twitter. It's just how it is. Unfortunately, he put his kids on there, and people kind of they're gonna use that as fuel to try to get that reaction from them, to try to get that shine. Because people, if I could get RG3 to respond to me, I can get some followers for that. But here's the thing that I want to talk about a little bit more though is community and proximity dating. Dating is already kind of dangerous within itself because there's no rules to dating. There's no guideline. There's no book. The Bible talks about courting a woman, not about dating a woman. So dating is almost like a wide open. kind of deal, and there's no set standard to dating. That's why I always talk about, man. Dating, it's not what you think it is. It's a doggy dog world. You can't take it personal.
It's always business,
You can't take it personal.
never personal.
You have to be able to recover quick. Understand that somebody's gonna hurt your feelings. You probably gonna hurt somebody else's feelings. That's just how it go. And when you start getting into the whole interracial thing, based on community and proximity, um, doesn't it kind of happens a lot, but it kind of doesn't just depend. Like I say, it depends on your proximity. Where I grew up at in Southwest Little Rock, just to be honest, the majority of people that live in Southwest Little Rock are African American black, pretty much. Probably 5% of other races. Now it's kind of changed, but as far as like white, they kind of was sprinkled in there. It's probably more than probably what I thought, but when you get past a certain area in Southwest, though, it's mostly black. Though, when you get past University, you start getting into Chico. You have some floating around, but it's mostly an African American community, and you don't have that exposure to other races. It's not as diverse as you probably would want it to be. But I don't think, when you look at his bio, I don't think he grew up in the inner city. And this is what I want to say, whether some people may agree with it or not. Some people are not compatible with other people. It's almost like trying to make an apple compatible with an orange. What am I trying to say? There are some black dudes out there that they're not compatible. They're not made to talk. EV, what's up, bro? I was looking at a Twitter video. Oh wow, I didn't know that. Okay, thanks for letting me know that, bro. But what I want to get back to what I was saying though. Appreciate that. What's EV? Appreciate that, bro. What I want to say is that some black guys. This is just from my experience of growing up. Some black guys, they're not wired. They're not made personality wise. It doesn't mesh with talking to other black women. And I think some women don't really understand it because maybe they haven't dealt with these guys. You got to understand how personalities work. Some personalities are not compatible with other personalities. It's just how the game works. Dating game anyway. It won't work. No matter how you complain, no matter how you say he should be doing this and doing that, his personality is just not compatible. It won't work. You don't think the same. There's no similarities. There's no common ground. He grew up in a totally different community than probably where you grew up at. I remember when Michael Jackson married Lisa Marie Presley. It was a big thing. They was ruffling feathers about that. And then shout out to Don DC Curry. He said, "Why would Michael Jackson marry you when he live in a mansion driving Bentleys and you got your '68 Cutlass parked in the yard? How that's gonna look?" What he was pretty much saying was, the personality, lifestyles, it didn't match. When you're trying to date somebody, you have to find a person that y'all personalities match, and when it overlaps and you have those same similarities in the middle of the circles. I wish I should have got a picture of that. But there has to be some kind of similarity, common ground, or overlap. And a lot of times when you see somebody in an interracial relationship, most of the time you have to realize that those two people probably are not compatible with the people they um that they grew up with in that community. Probably grew up in a diverse community. Where I went to high school at, it wasn't a lot of diversity. It was probably 98% black, probably 1% white, and 1%. No, it was a little bit more Hispanic, but probably 1 or 2% Hispanic. It wasn't a lot of diversity. It was just what you just had what you had. In the city, you just have what you have. Living in the projects, you have what you have. Not that many things to choose from. You just have what you have. That's what you talk to. That's what's in proximity, and that's just what it is. So I don't fault him for dating who we date, marry who we marry. But there are people out there, Twitter world, different communities, they will fault him for that. And what I would tell them is sometimes you gotta understand that everybody sometimes you want to force things to be a certain way, but it's just not how the world works. It's just not how the world works. There are some black women that are not personality wise, it won't fit with black men. It's not a color thing, it's personality. It's a personality fit. It's a culture kind of fit kind of deal. And wish my bro would have came on here, man. We could have really talked about it, but probably talk about it next time. Maybe on the podcast Thursday. Make sure to tune in to the podcast on Thursday when we do the thinking game. Probably like around 6:30 on Thursday. Make sure y'all check that out. We'll probably talk about some of these topics again. But shout out to everybody too who was watching the marriage clip. Our spouse is more honest. What's the percentage of them being honest with their spouse about their desires? Shout out to people who watched that on Facebook. It was got like 100 some views. I appreciate everybody who checked that out. Let us know in the comments if you would like to hear us talk about that more. But when it comes to dating, a lot of times you only have what you have in your community and proximity, the choices that you have. It's kind of like food. You live in the inner city, it's only certain kinds of restaurants that you're going to have. And they mostly franchise fast food restaurants. It ain't that many sit down restaurants. It ain't gonna be a lot of fine dining or things like that in the inner city. You're gonna have McDonald's, Burger King, Arby's, Taco Bell, all those things. You don't have steakhouses in Southwest. You don't have, Arthur's fine dining or whatever. You don't have those in the inner city. Different sides of town. Same way with dealing with you know, women and dating. Certain places, certain women. It's just the truth. You can debate it all you want, but when you get outside of your proximity in your area, things change. What you see change. Culture change. Communities change. Your exposure change. He didn't go to a historical black college. He went to Baylor, and he grew up in Texas. From his bio is what it said. But he didn't grow up in Oak Cliff. He didn't grow up, in the hood. It seemed like you think he grew up in probably a nice area. So that factors into what a person is exposed to as well. So for me, and I live in the South, for me, it's not about race. It's about a personality match. It's about compatibility, what you're compatible with. And like I say, my wife is black. I was made for talking to black women because I'm a little crazy, a little loopy up here. But you have to have. I'm not down in him, but I'm saying as a black man, you have to have a level of resilience, a level of leadership, and a level of what am I trying to say? your personality has to be a certain wired a certain way. And if it's not, it's probably not gonna work. It's probably not gonna work. So I would rather somebody get with somebody that's compatible with them, no matter the color, and live life in harmony and peace, than marry the wrong person based on community pressure and you living in torment because your personalities don't mesh together well. They just don't. Whether it's things you like to do, um, things, personal matters, personal taste. It may not be no similarities in that, and this happens. People marry or talk to people that is not compatible at all, and it's just like a constant tension, constant tug of war, just constant everything. It's like everything's like totally opposite. Now, granted, me and my wife, we're totally opposite, but we agree in the center part of that circle. We have a lot of similarities, and that's what you want to do. You want to find somebody that has similar similarities that you have. So, what are some of the common ways men meet women, especially in 2024? Used to be a time where you had to physically really introduce yourself, talk to a woman, hold a conversation in person, get to know this person, and make that decision. Do I take the next step, or do I just leave it right here where it's at? Now, you have internet, you got digital DMs, you got dating apps, you got all these other methods to meet people. So, like say, internet, dating apps, Facebook DMs, Instagram. People are meeting people many ways. When I was coming up, sometimes I know guys that you can meet girls walking in Walmart. Some girls you just meet her walking in Walmart. Hey, how you doing? Get a number or whatever. You used to get a girl phone number. That was the thing probably 10, 20 years ago. Get a phone number. But now with technology now, man, things change. Text message. I think text message and DMs probably could be the number one way right now that people communicate, get to know one another. Text messaging is a little weird because you don't know how that person is sending it to you. Are they sending that in a nice way? Are they sending that in a spiteful way? You don't know the intent behind the text, I guess. Dating apps are kind of weird. Never really got into it because, like I said, you get catfished. People can sell you a dream and make you think they Matthew McConaughey, but they end up just being somebody named Matthew. So you gotta be careful with that as well. It's something about meeting somebody in person and you see them, they see you. You can make that determination and you can go from there. Digital was a little different. I know with Facebook now, most people, I'm not gonna say all, but most people post current pictures. But some people not gonna knock them for it, but that's just what you do. They will have, let's say I'm 41, but I have a picture. My profile picture is a picture of me when I was like 22. You have a lot of that kind of stuff, and you don't really know who is who unless you really know that person or you just, you grew up with them. But a lot of people, I think they deal with people that in proximity, though. It's really hard to talk to a stranger, a person that you don't know at all, like a perfect stranger. Because there's so many things you got to think about when you're talking to a stranger that you don't know really nothing about. You don't know where they came from. You don't know how they grew up, what community they grew up in. And you have to learn all those things. Well, let me know in the comments, what are some of the common ways men meet women? I think, like, say, DMs. Dating apps probably now in 2024. Like I said, I've been out the game. I've been married 13 years. I would love to hear you guys come in. I've been out the game, so I don't know. I can't even imagine even doing it again, to be honest with you. We've been married 13 years. Um, been an awesome experience. Learned so much about me, what I need to work on daily. And a marriage is definitely an eye opener and will show you what you need to work on and your weaknesses and your strengths. And most of the time, if you do it right, I'm talking to the men, if you really do it right, your wife will complement the areas that you're not strong in. She'll be your helpmeet. But you have to know what you're not strong. You gotta be honest about that. You gotta be honest with yourself. So with that being said, let me know what you think about that. Cause everybody meet in different ways. But don't get caught up in the race part though. It's all about personality. How do your personalities match? How well do you mesh together? Now, I'm going to talk about that on the podcast. There are some risks that you take in anything that you do that you need to think about. We'll talk about that on the podcast. Make sure you tune into that on Thursday. Be sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. But there is a risk for dating different people. You got to think about a lot of risk that you got to think about. And if you can accept those risks, well, go for it. But don't do something without assessing the risk. That's what I say. Don't go down that journey if you don't want to assess the risk. Because sometimes some of it will throw you off, but you're so deep in, you can't get out. You got to think about those things. See, RG3 straight. He's not like a regular civilian. You know, he was an ex-pro athlete, so he's definitely insulated from a lot of the things that regular people have to go through. So it's a little different. But when you're a regular, everyday working person, you have to assess the risk for each decision that you make. And if you can handle it, I think it ain't no problem. But the question is, can you handle the risk that comes with anything, especially when it comes to dating? So with that being said, this is Mike. I'm signing out. Thanks for watching. Be sure to watch the Thinking Game on Thursday. But I wanted to come talk about that. Let me know what you think in the comments. Appreciate everybody for watching. This is Mike. I'm signing out.